Hey, good day. This is Robert Brown with the Robert Report. How you doing today? Well, it finally happened. We were wondering when this was going to happen. No, I'm not talking about Elizabeth Warren and who she will endorse. I'm talking about Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard, the one that certain people in the Democratic Party call a Manchurian candidate. What's up, Gerald? Putin puppet. Hillary Clinton called her a tool of Putin, somebody that's going to run third party. And none of that is so. For every person that tells me that, I ask them, what is your proof that she's a Russian asset? What is your proof that she's a Putin puppet? She is a general, a doctor, not a general, but a major, a doctor in the U.S. National Guard, a medic. Where's your evidence? See, every time I talk about your favorite politician, I always have evidence to back it up. If I call them a fake and a fraud, I will show you videos of them being a fake and a fraud. I always have evidence. You have no evidence. When I talk about how Joe Biden saying he sat there and lied on the debate stage saying he never tried to freeze Social Security, and I showed you videos, multiple videos, him on the Senate floor talking about he wants to freeze Social Security. He wants to stop the payments from coming out. That is what a freeze is. I show it to you. Whenever I show you Bernie Sanders talking out the side of his behind, I'll show you video because you know me, I don't owe no allegiance to no party, and I'm calling them all of them out. I stand in the middle of America saying, if you want my vote, you got to come get it. I'm not just giving you nothing. You got to earn it. Now, there's multiple reasons I liked Tulsi Gabbard being in a race because she will challenge you on your record. How I am. I challenge you on your record. I don't talk about anything else but your record. Now, if your record shows that you pass legislation that harm certain communities like the black community, I will call you out on that and let you know because of your vote or because of your legislation that you develop yourself, the one that you birthed from your heart, that you couldn't even sleep. You had to get up and go to the kitchen table and write this piece of legislation down that targeted black people. I'm going to call you out. And not only that, I'm going to call you a bigot when it actually get passed and it actually hurts black people. I will call you a white supremacist a bigot. I will call that piece of legislation a bigoted legislation. Because when policies are proportionally attacking one area of a community, that is called racist. Now here it is. You got Kamala Harris who challenged Joe Biden on that record concerning his siding with segregationists, him palling around with white supremacists, that he enjoyed the friendship that he had with these white supremacists, that they didn't call him boy, they called him son. This is what Joe Biden said. I got video and audio evidence of him saying that. Kamala Harris challenged him on that. Here's Tulsi Gabbard won't say nothing about it. And then turn around saying, I don't believe Joe Biden is a racist. How can you say that? Just look, understand something, people. I keep trying to explain to you. Real, true, real deal white supremacists, they don't show. Why you think the Klan always had a hood over their head? Because they don't want you to know who's behind that hood. It could be your neighbor. It could be the guy at the store that you shop from. It could be the guy at the restaurant that you eat at. It could be your doctor. It could be anybody, and you don't even know it because they're behind a mask. White supremacists always mask themselves behind people or behind an item. And one of the most strategic ways to mask yourself is mask yourself around the people that you hate the most. Now, she's going to sit there and say, oh, well, I don't think. Why don't you stop thinking and look at the record? The record proves it. If I pull up your criminal record and I see how many times you stole, that makes you a thief. You can say, well, I don't feel like he's a thief. I got a record showing how many times he stole. Been convicted for it. Charged and convicted for it. Spent time in jail for it. Had to do time for it. And I don't think he's a, get out of here with this. So don't get me wrong. I enjoyed her being erased to challenge people on that stage. She was real brutal toward Kamala Harris and end her campaign. But she wasn't as brutal with Joe Biden. Why? Because Joe Biden had a position that Kamala Harris didn't have. Joe Biden was VP, and Joe Biden was real close friends with Obama, who has the ability to continue to do things for the Democratic base. Now, today, Tulsi Gabbard announced that she's suspending her campaign. Now, I was hoping that she'd stay in the campaign, because honestly speaking, you got two people in the race, two old white guys who you know, well in the age, that can go any day. So you need to have some youth in that election just in case. Now, this particular video really kind of upset me because she sold herself as a person that is against war, against regime change wars, and how she ran for office because she got tired of her brothers and sisters in combat going out and laying their life for senseless wars. I get that. That is a noble reason to run for office. That is a noble reason to do work as a senator, or, you know, whether you're in the House or Senate, or as a presidential candidate or a governor. That's a valid reason you go out and run for office. You want to stop the government from sending our young men and women, most of them people of color, a lot of them black, because in the black community, that's one of the ways we can get a secure future is by joining the military and staying in for at least 15, 20 years. You're set for life usually. So you got a lot of black people that join. I joined. I wasn't trying to stay in. I only joined to get a little education money to go to college. Imagine that. Imagine the amount of people that join just to get money to go to college and risk their lives dying and never get to go to college. That's why I am for no tuition education. I don't think you should be paying out of your pocket to go to school in a public college, which we pay our taxes for anyway. But let me get off that subject. I had to sit here and think about this. I've been thinking about this all day on what I'm going to say. Tulsi Gabbard disappointed me today. I could care less who she endorsed. I can care less who she... Well, I'm not going to say that. You ran on, I'm running to stop these regime change wars. I'm running to save people from going to die in endless, unnecessary wars. But you turn around and do this. Watch this. This is very upsetting to me, so hang in there with me, okay? In there with me.
Our nation is facing an unprecedented global crisis that highlights the inextricable bonds of humanity and how foreign policy and domestic policy are inseparable. We are all in this together, and we must all rise to meet this moment in service to our country and our fellow man. This is not the first time that we have faced adversity together, and it will not be the last. After the terrorist attack by al-Qaeda on our country on 9/11, we stood together as Americans, motivated to serve, marshaling our forces to defeat our common enemy. I and so many Americans all across this country enlisted in the military to do just that. Likewise, today, as Americans and all of humanity, we face a common enemy. It is once again time as Americans and as neighbors in this global community that we stand together once again and work hand in hand to defeat this new enemy, the coronavirus. Throughout my life and throughout this campaign, my motivation has been to serve God, our country, and the American people as best I can. I feel that the best way that I can be of service at this time is to continue to work for the health and well-being of the people of Hawaii and our country in Congress, and to stand ready to serve in uniform should the Hawaii National Guard be activated. Now, after Tuesday's election, it's clear that Democratic primary voters have chosen Vice President Joe Biden to be the person who will take on President Trump in the general election.
All right, so I'm going to stop there. Now, it's all fine and dandy about this coming together because of a new enemy called a coronavirus. And it's true. This is a world pandemic, and we all got to work together to deal with this issue. But that ain't the only enemy in this world, Tulsi Gabbard. But still, at the same time, there's other enemies out there. You think they stop doing what they doing and begin to love and buddy and come together right now like the Beatles just because a virus is out there? The wealthy still want to crush the middle class. The wealthy still want to crush the poor. I mean, I'm surprised that Donald Trump is out lefting the Democrats when it comes to measures that we put in place to deal with this virus, especially for working people. Of all people, I didn't think he would do it. I mean, here comes Nancy Pelosi talking about we need to get paid, we need to give them paid sick times, and we need to give them a little more. People need to have a freeze on paying their mortgage. I'm going to go over that in another video, the different measures that was passed in Congress to deal with this issue. But I want to stop right here because Tulsi Gabbard said something, and I want to reflect that one more time. Let me play it again.
And Vice President Joe Biden to be the person who will take on President Trump in the general election.
So she said the nation has spoken on their choice on who they want to run against Donald Trump. We are halfway in this election. Majority of the country haven't gotten a chance to vote yet. And that's why I believe, personally, you give everybody an opportunity to vote. You don't just suspend, well, she suspended her campaign, but you don't try to do a video to encourage somebody else, because I think this is what this is designed to do. And right now, the whole media and everybody else is trying to tell people, okay, it's a wrap. He's the nominee. We don't need to go any more forward. Right now, you're telling people that they can't vote. Now, my big deal is how you vote. In this pandemic, in this crisis, you don't expect people to go out in long lines, around 100 people down in a basement cellar, where the poor ventilation, trying to vote for somebody. You suspend the campaign, hand everybody mail-in ballots. You mail it into your local election facility, and you count them from there. The poll workers count them from there. You don't not have an election, and you don't shut down an election that early. See, Donald Trump won his nomination. He reached the delegate count. He had no competition in the Republican Party. He had people running against him. He had 2 other people running against him, but Trump base is strong, and the Republican Party is solid behind Trump, and a lot of independents are solid behind Trump. So he reached his number of delegates, and then he called it quits. This thing should continue to go until Biden reaches number of delegates. If he haven't reached his number of delegates, I don't care how tough it is. Both of them are their winning delegates. Both of them still got a lot more delegate counts to go, and this thing could be a tortoise versus the hare race. You're in the middle of the freaking championship game, and you try to tell somebody to call it quits in halftime. You don't tell what coach and what idiot would spend their money to go to a game when the team is going to always call it quits in the third quarter or at halftime? Nobody. And for all you fools who are trying to do this, something wrong with you. And if it gets to Bernie Sanders, because I got my problem with, I always told you I had my issue with Bernie Sanders, even though I believe in his policies, and his policies is what this country needs. I get on Bernie and I get on Biden. For him and Biden and Tom Perez to encourage people to go out there and vote in this mess outside, you should be liable and charged, convicted, charged, and thrown in jail if somebody gets sick and die. The goal is shut down the election until a certain date and send out paper ballots to everybody in your party, and people who are not in your party in the open primary states, send them a ballot and give them an opportunity to vote. You don't shut them down. Now, Tulsi, if you want to suspend your campaign, that's fine. You don't owe Bernie Sanders nothing. I don't know why people getting upset because Tulsi turned his back on Bernie Sanders. Let me tell you something. Bernie Sanders has done nothing for Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi has done more for Bernie Sanders than anybody. Now, I know some people are going to disagree with me out here, and some of my buddies out here in YouTube land. Tulsi don't owe Bernie Sanders nothing. Tulsi is the one who revealed that the DNC was rigging the election in 2016 to the point that she stepped down. Tulsi actually went out there and campaigned. That's not Bernie Sanders owing Tulsi anything. That's Tulsi owing Bernie Sanders anything. That's Bernie Sanders owing Tulsi. The many times that Elizabeth Warren and all of them came up with all this bull crap on Bernie Sanders, Tulsi stood by Bernie Sanders and said, nah, that's not true. I've been knowing Bernie Sanders for a long time. He'd never been that sexist. So I don't know what Elizabeth Warren is talking about. So she don't owe him anything. There's nothing she owes. And yet I wake up in the morning, I get one of my buddies, and I love my brother, you know, shout out Ken. You know, one of my union buddies, he's upset and hurt because, you know, Tulsi didn't support Bernie. I mean, Tulsi, I'm not hurt. It's who she's decided to pull her weight behind. Me personally, I think she shouldn't have had said anything at all about who she's supporting or endorsing. She not necessarily said she endorsing Joe Biden, but she did say she will support Joe Biden. I mean, once the primary is over with, you can support whoever you want to support. Bernie Sanders is going to, Joe Biden, once he hit that magic number, Bernie Sanders already said that he's going to support the nominee, no matter how crooked he is. And Bernie had every opportunity to go after Joe Biden. Bernie Sanders turned his back on everybody but his good friend Joe Biden. Zephyr Teachout came out with something on Joe Biden's record, and the media and the DNC slapped Bernie on a hand for that, and he went and corrected Zephyr Teachout. I'm like, who are you to correct me? I may be your mouthpiece. I will distance myself from your campaign, but you ain't gonna stop me from talking about this guy who has been robbing people in the credit industry, who's been trying to free Social Security from the elderly, the man who came up with the crime bill that brutalized black young men all across this country. You ain't gonna stop me from talking about him. I'd rather step down from your campaign, bruh. He's going to correct them, and I don't agree with Zephyr Teachout. I don't care whether you agree with me or not. You should agree because you know it's true. But I get it. You know, Joe Biden's a good friend of mine. Elizabeth Warren, a good friend. The whole DNC, that's your problem. That's your weakness. That is your kryptonite, your relationship with a party that don't give a crap about you. You will rather support your party over your probably And that is the shame, and that is the reason why things are not going your way, Bernie Sanders, because you probably had a real movement at the beginning in 2016, but you didn't really pick up a movement in 2020. It's a fake movement. These people out here moving and shaking for your behind, but you're doing more Democratic kissing behind than they are. I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry. I got to tell the truth. So no, Tulsi Gabbard, you need to stop that. America hasn't spoken. There's so many states that haven't voted yet, so many people who want to vote, so many independents want to vote. You're going to deny them the opportunity to participate in the so-called American dream, being able to vote for your choice of being the president. You're going to deny them. You're going to shut them up. And Bernie Sanders, the same thing go for you. If you're thinking about dropping out this thing to coalesce around Joe Biden, then shame on you. And shame on Joe Biden, and shame on Tom Perez, and shame on Barack Obama, and shame on anybody that's on the news media talking that bull crap. New York haven't voted yet. Now, I'm on this thing, you don't have no black agenda, no vote. I get that. But you ain't going to deny, no, I'm going to deny you the vote. You ain't going to deny me the opportunity to tell you no. You're not. So no, Tulsi, the country hasn't spoken. You can shut it down right now. What you did was rob millions of Americans in other states that have not voted yet the opportunity to make their choice for who is president. I don't care if they go in the booth and put down Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. That's their choice. Because that's what we're getting right now. Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse. This is 2016, part 2. The saga continues of losers. Keep going.
I know Vice President Biden and his wife, and I'm grateful to have called his son, Beau, a friend who also served in the National Guard. Although I may not agree with the vice president on every issue, I know that he has a good heart, and he's motivated by his love for our country and the American people. I'm confident that he will lead our country. He has a good heart, and he's motivated by...
Now, let me stop there. People, Joe is a likable guy. Oh man, I was watching this video of Joe and Obama, and they had their bromance, and oh man, it's so cool to make you warm, and that would motivate people to go vote for him. Oh, what a beautiful bromance. That's Barack Obama. He already put Joe Biden from the beginning of this thing, already went full-blown Mr. Candy from the Django Unchained. He went full Mr. Candy. Mr. Candy called Django that one exceptional Negro. He called Django Bright Boy. And in that speech that was on audio, Joe Biden, he bright boy Barack Obama. He's the first clean-cut, articulate, bright, like I'm not, like you're not. Barack Obama wasn't the first. In other words, he was saying you're that one out of 10,000 exceptional Negroes. Now, Mr. Kennedy used another name. It wasn't Negro. It rhymes with Wigger. You're that 1 out of 10,000 exceptional nigger. You know what I mean. Joe Biden did that. Kind-hearted, good-hearted. When he sat there on the Senate floor and with all the passion in the world, talk about how he tried to freeze and make cuts to Medicare and Social Security, not 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, but 4 times I tried to do this. And you trying to tell me that is a man with a good heart? Trying to take money away from the seniors who invested in that program? Trying to freeze their money that they put in that program. And you're going to call him a good guy. Good heart. I know him. If you know him and you saying that about him, maybe that's what you know about him. But people out here like me, I don't see him that way. And it's a lot of people like me don't see him that way. But let's keep going.
His love for our country and the American...
Donald Trump have a love for our country. Everybody run for office saying they love our country, but they'll run our country in the ground. They'll run our population in the ground. They'll send our people out the war to get killed, but they love our country. So how in the world you tell me Joe Biden love our country? Which one is more important? The country for its the upper echelon or the people? What have Joe Biden done for the country lately? What have, I mean, Bernie Sanders got some proposals and he has done some things, but look, I'm cross-eyed on any politician running for office. What did you do in the past? What are you doing now? Because what you did tomorrow determines your future. What you do today determines your tomorrow. How is this man winning, and don't even campaign in the states that he win? Something is not right. And here you go. You're joining the rest of the singing crew with this.
American people. I'm confident that he will lead our country guided by the spirit of aloha, respect, and compassion. And
you're comfortable with him leading this country in the spirit of respect and compassion. When anybody challenge him, he get in their face, poke him in the chest, grab him by the shirt, and tell him to go and threaten to call him fat boy, almost call him fat boy, threaten to fight people outside, and then he tell them then go vote for Trump then. Get out my face. If you're not voting for me, get out my face. That's him. And all this stuff is on video, and I can pop it up right now, but I don't want this going too long. You can Google it. You can search it. Like Bernie Sanders say, go on to Google and look at it. How he cuts people out. You're a dog-faced pony show. You're a damn liar. How he told one person. This guy is no different from Trump. He's your version of Trump. He's the Democratic version of Trump, and y'all figure our version is much more better. I don't want either one of you. I don't want the Republican version of Trump, and I don't want the Democratic version of Trump. One thing I can say about Trump, and I don't think that guy, and I'm not saying this can't happen, he never crafted from his heart and his mind legislation to brutalize the black community. Not saying he won't. The way he put his mouth on the Central Park boys and yet to refuse it shows his yet to apologize for it shows his white supremacist ways. The way Joe Biden developed that crime bill and that put a lot of black people in jail for some of the simplest, dumbest stuff and put them in private prison and the brand new slavery, the whole 9 yards, and yet he still haven't apologized for it. Anita Hill and how he treated her, still no real true, I'm sorry. But you say this guy got a good heart and he'll lead our country in compassion and aloha. What weed are you smoking, Tulsi Gabbard? Is that good Hawaiian pineapple weed you smoking? I mean, I live in New York, it ain't legal, but once it become legal, you gotta let me smoke some of that pineapple weed that you smoking, because you sure got a figment of your own imagination of Joe Biden.
And thus help heal the divisiveness that has been tearing our country apart.
Help heal the divisiveness that's tearing the country apart. This man is in the middle of tearing this country apart, just like the other one. He is the other one. He's just a cooler version of the other one. Who don't even, oh God. I mean, this day is, when they start shutting stuff down, I was like, oh man. Now, this right here is right on that level. I can go catch a movie. Now I got to hear bull crap like this.
So today, I'm suspending my presidential campaign and offering my full support to Vice President Joe Biden in his quest to bring our country together.
Now, some of you argue and say, well, she just says she's going to offer her full support, but she didn't endorse him. What do you think an endorsement is? I'm supporting you. She just said that she believes what he's going to do. See, right now, she has bought into the idea that there's no path for Bernie Sanders. She don't believe in miracles, because if she did, she would be siding with him. Because she's supposed to be a progressive, right? And progressives look out for one another, right? At least we thought. At the end of the day, she's a Democrat. And progressives need to not stop courting the Democratic Party, progressives. You're bigger than them. And it's time for you to stand up and show it. You are bigger than the Democratic Party. Most of the progressives are outside the party. And they can't get a vote in edgewise because of DNC rules.
I will continue to advocate for a 21st century foreign policy, one that's based on mutual respect and cooperation instead of confrontation, where we as a community of nations can work together to overcome the great challenges that our people face.
So my question, Tulsi Gabbard, how are you going to work on that? Is he going to make you Secretary of Defense? Is that one of the reasons why you going to support him? Now, folks, don't get me wrong. Like I said, Tulsi don't owe Bernie Sanders a doggone thing. Tulsi done more for Bernie Sanders than Bernie Sanders could ever do for Tulsi Gabbard. And I'm quite sure she probably gave him an opportunity to get a full official endorsement. But lately, Bernie Sanders has been treating Tulsi as a stepchild because the DNC don't like her. Or today they love her. But because the DNC don't like her, like I said, at the end of the day, she's a Democrat. She's going to go with the party. She's not going to go outside. But at the end of the day, she's a Democrat. And the Democrats hate her just as much as they hate him. So I'm quite sure she probably gave him an opportunity to say, look, I'm thinking about suspending my campaign, which I wouldn't have suspended Jack. You got two old white guys. You got this virus going around. Anything liable to happen. I know that sounds horrible, but anything liable will happen. You're in a position where this thing could, I would have stayed in for the sake of the country. Why are you getting out? Stay your butt in. There's no reason you to get out because I don't care who is winning. I don't care how many delegates left. I don't care who has the best position. At the end of the day, we're in a pandemic. And you can't put yourself in a position like this. I'd have stayed in, Tulsi. I'd have stayed in. But maybe Biden's going to give you a Secretary of Defense position where you can work on regime change. Or maybe Secretary of State. I doubt it. Not after what you did in 2016. I doubt it. So once again, you giving your support to somebody who is not going to do nothing for your Samoan people. He's not going to do nothing for you. At least you know Bernie Sanders, regardless of whether Bernie want to acknowledge you or not. And see, I understand. Here you are. Elizabeth Warren stabbed him in the back, and you go in and you put a little alcohol to wipe the blood down, take the knife out the back, you wipe the blood down, and you bandage him up saying that all these years I've known him, he's never been there. You came to his side once again. Over and over and over again, you're always coming to his side. And folks, you know what I'm saying is true. But yet when you are called Russian puppet, Assad sympathizer, Manchurian candidate, when you qualify to be on the debate stage with Bernie and Biden last Sunday, and they did not stand up and step up for you, not even Biden. When you see everybody is turning their back on your so-called friend and his team, you should have just sit back and didn't say anything. Look, I'm just dropping out of the race. I'm not endorsing anybody. I got more respect for Warren in that aspect than what you just did today. I don't mind you suspending the campaign. I think it would have been wrong to do it. The smart thing to stay in because you got these two older white guys. Older people, stay in the race. But you got a right to suspend your campaign, but to go and vote support Joe Biden. Oh. Let me let this go and then we almost
preventing and stopping pandemics like the coronavirus that is now affecting all of us, tackling climate change, combating terrorism, removing the existential threat of nuclear war that hangs over the heads of all of us. I will continue to do everything that I can to help bring about an end to the new Cold War and nuclear arms race and end regime change wars, which are costing us trillions of dollars, so that we can invest these precious resources in the needs of the American.
How are you going to end a regime change war when you got a warmonger that you're supporting? Joe Biden is the biggest warmonger, the biggest war profiteer, the biggest war cheerleader, second to John McCain. How you supporting him is helping you in your effort. This is anti your entire campaign. And if y'all think that these Republicans that may not like Trump is just going to go with Tulsi because she said Joe Biden is our guy, you got another freaking thing coming. The only thing that could possibly get some Trump Republicans on the side, or those never Trumper Republican on the side of Joe Biden, is if he make her the VP. And even then they're not, because they don't like warmongers.
American people. Things like healthcare, rebuilding our infrastructure, education, and so much more.
And you think Joe Biden is going to make that happen for you? You really think that's going to happen? You're really going to side with that? The person who fundamentally told Wall Street and the corporate donors that nothing is going to fundamentally change with me. I'm the same old Joe.
I want to extend my best wishes to my friends, Senator Bernie Sanders, his wife Jane, Nina Turner, and their many supporters for the work that they've done.
Now let me stop there. Friends, how many of us have them? Now, I really believe that she probably went to Bernie Sanders to get and say, look, I'm willing to endorse you. And I really believe, because she is so toxic to the Democratic Party, Bernie once again becoming a lapdog that he is to the party, to the point that he will turn his back on his own supporters to go support the party, when the supporters saying, look, you need to screw that. This is your last ride, bruh. Ride out. Go all the way to the convention, and then if it means you run independent, go all the way. This is your last ride. Let your legacy go out as a revolutionist, not as a Democratic suck-up. Get your lips off of your buddies behind, Joe Biden and all of them, and go out there and go out with a bang. She probably would have supported her with that kind of mentality. But I got to tell you, Bernie Sanders was standoffish when it came to her. But she should have just endorsed him anyway. She could have did that. She could have said, despite how Bernie Sanders treat me, I'm not going to be like that. I'm going to side with Marianne Williamson. I'm going to side with Jesse Jackson, and I'm going to support Bernie Sanders in this effort. And I'm going to be there with him until he decides to continue all the way to the convention. If he decides to go independent, I'm going to be by his side. Or if he decides to suspend his campaign. I'm not giving up on this movement. Because, again, people, I say it's not about Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is an old white guy that can probably fall dead any day. We all can fall dead any day. Him is really likely, because he's at that age of life expectancy age. He's getting close to it for Americans. And he probably said, look, she probably said, look, I'm willing to support you. I mean, let's ride out. This is your last ride, Bernie. Let's build something great. Make me your VP, or put me as part of your campaign as Secretary of State. Give me something so we can ride all the way out to the sunset, because this is your last ride, bro, and I want to ride with you. Whether you get the nomination or not, I want to ride this thing out. If you decide to go independent, I'm going to ride with you. And you know what Bernie Sanders probably would say, look, I don't think I can have that. I love you, Tulsi, but right now, I'm having my own issues. I got a D crisis going on. You're getting passionate about a doggone crisis, and you're not even the president, Bernie Sanders. Your weight in this thing is no different from Nancy Pelosi's because you're still a senator right now. You're not even going at Joe Biden toe to toe. You too scared to upset your friend. So it's like, who you gonna pick? You gonna pick your supporters, or you gonna pick your good friend Joe? But let me finish this, and then we'll talk.
I have such a great appreciation for Senator Sanders' love for our country and the American people and his sincere desire to improve the lives of all Americans.
Now, you know he has a sincere desire to improve all Americans. That's a fact. And people like me, black people who still haven't gotten our full rights, we think we should get a lead in that first. But undoubtedly, he do care about all people. You know you can't say that about Joe. You know you can't say that about Joe. You can't even say that about Joe with a straight face, but you can say that with Bernie Sanders with a smile because you know it's true.
To the many people all across our country who've dedicated their time and energy and resources to my campaign, working tirelessly to help get our message out, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I look forward to speaking to you more in the coming days about why I made this decision and how we can continue to work together for our common cause.
Now look, once again, Tulsi Gabbard.
Make sure you comment below, and I'll see you in my next video.
Time after time after time, she came in defense of
Boom! By the way, if you watch day one of my 4-part training series on high-ticket closing, and by now you know how the high-ticket closing model works. Day 2, I'm going to teach you the 3 most powerful secrets when it comes to closing a prospect in one single phone call. So make sure, don't miss it. Click link here and jump right back into it and watch day 2's training.
So you can't
Go ahead,
get mad
do that right now.
because, oh, she didn't endorse Bernie.
Thank you for choosing our home. Here's a list of our favorite spots to help you live like a local. And here is our Spectrum Wi-Fi password and a channel guide to help you settle in.
Did you say Spectrum?
Experience the fastest starting speeds for the price with Spectrum Internet. At 200 megabits per second, you'll enjoy faster surfing, streaming, and gaming. Then lose yourself in the best in entertainment with more HD and more free on demand.
It happened again.
Get Spectrum TV and Internet from $44.99 a month each, all with no contracts. Click to learn more.
Catherine Barger, please go ahead.
Good evening. I'm Supervisor Catherine Barger, Chair of the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors. I want to thank you all for joining us to discuss the...
All right, so, again, she have no reason to, you don't owe Bernie Sanders anything. But I thought as a friend, I want to say I'm supporting anybody until it was over. You just made it easier for Elizabeth Warren to come out and endorse Joe Biden and anybody else. You just take place in the coalition and the collating of Obama, where Obama worked the phones to get everybody on the side of Joe Biden. Now, this is my message to anybody who's telling Bernie Sanders he need to leave, that he need to drop out. I disagree with you. I disagree with you wholeheartedly. Bernie Sanders, I know you probably don't even watch me. And look, I'm very critical of you. To this day, I'm critical for you because I'm still not going to let you up on signing for that crime bill and blowing people off when they start talking about reparation. But here's the deal. I hate the Democratic Party. I hate the Republican Party. I hate what they stand for. And I have to, and I admit, I was rooting that you would make some kind of changes to the party if you could do that. But I understood what Joe Stein said, that at a certain point, you think you're going to be winning, but they're going to pull the plug on you. And they did. Super Tuesday, they pulled the plug on you and got everybody rallied around Joe Biden. They had Elizabeth Warren stay in the race just to take votes away from you, to keep you from looking good that night. And I really believe there's some tampering going on with these computerized voting machines because we're seeing discrepancies all over the country, but you don't have the guts to deal with it. Yeah, I said it. You don't have the balls to challenge the Democratic Party. You challenge them on policies, but you won't challenge them on their criminality. You don't call them out. You're not going back to the Senate, bro. I think this is your last chance. After this election, you need to retire and live the rest of your life. If you're not going to go broke, if you're not going to go for broke, if you're not going to go for it all the way, then why waste our time? Why waste people's energy? Why waste people's money? I say because I was gung-ho for you in 2016. I was out there in the streets of Philly, ready to riot if they was going to screw you out the nomination. Then we found out they were rigging this thing, and David Wasserman had to Schultz had to step down. You had every right to say, no, I'm sorry, at this convention. After they screwed Nina Turner and took her off the stage, you should have been saying, look, I'm sorry, I can't. I'm not going to enforce. I'm not going to go out. I was going to do it, but because you guys rigged this thing and put the finger on the scale for her, you violated your own charter. And you violated your own agreement. And as a result of that, I have no choice but to continue this race. And I'm continuing as an independent. And I would have banked my butt out of there and get ready to start my independent campaign. This election, you should not stop. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. I will go all the way. You do what you did the last time. You bet not. You will be the world should be ashamed of you. Better know we're ashamed of you now because you choose your friendship with the party elite over the people, number one, and more important, over your supporters. The people who knocked on your door, traveled all different types of state, gave up their lives. Some people gave up their money. Some people made phone calls and died the next day for you. To go support the people who they were willing to get on the phone to fight. You really thinking about doing that? People dying to campaign for you, giving you their last dime, and then you gonna go support Joe Biden? Well, Joe Biden's my good friend. Who cares more about you, Joe Biden, or these people out there fighting for your behind? Who cares more about you? These people working endless hours, quitting their jobs, quitting their careers, coming out of the hospital bed, going into the living room to make phone calls for you, taking their last dime for you because they still believe in the revolution. They still believe that you are the leader that's going to carry them to the promised land that they've been promised in your platform. Joe Biden ain't going to do it. We know Trump ain't going to do it. You owe yourself and you owe the American people who supported you to show them that you're a real revolutionist. A real revolutionist will rather get killed before surrendering to the enemy. A real, true blue, diehard revolution will say, you got to take my life before you take me. I'm not throwing in no white towel. You got to kill me first. A real revolutionist saying, we're going to burn the bridge, bro. Either we going to fight and win, or we going to fight and die. I'm burning the bridge. You sit up here trying to continue to prop a bridge up. You sit up here trying to put nails in the bridge between true progressives and the Democratic Party. And most progressives don't want to have nothing to do with the party. They're ready for you to turn around and stand up and start your own party at your late age with your troops. You got soldiers like Tulsi Gabbard probably would have joined you. Nina Turner definitely. And you're going to support Joe Biden. Tulsi, you supporting Joe Biden, of all people. Well, Tulsi, I'm here to let you know. There's a lot of things I liked about you. but I don't like you that much. I don't like you that much to be supporting no Joe Biden. I don't support racist, lying bigots. I got a lot of people in my community think Bernie Sanders is a racist, lying bigot. I wouldn't say he's a liar. He'll tell you the truth in your face. Have he signed bigoted policies? Yeah. There was a pork in there he felt he had to sign. I mean, like I said, it's hard to understand about signing bills. They throw all kind of bullcraps in there where you're trapped. And you may not want to sign it, but you have no choice but to sign it, because if you don't, you're still going to get ridiculed. You're still going to get mocked. You just got to pick your battles. So what you do is fight to get that pork out. But I still hold, you have no excuse with me for signing that bill, bro. You still could have said no. And right now, you still could say, no, I'm not going to let y'all talk me out of it. I'm going to give America what they really need. Tulsi Gabbard can talk that. The American people have spoken. American people have not spoken. We still got like maybe 12, 13 more states to go. No, I'm going to stay in this race and make sure every American do speak. And if I'm not the nominee and I feel as they won fair and square, fine, I'll drop out. But I ain't supporting no corporatists. I'm not supporting a guy who sent people like Tulsi Gabbard out to die for a war over oil. I'm not doing it. I'm not supporting. And what I'm telling you is, this is your last ride, man. They're gonna pick on you and joke on you for the simple fact they're doing it now, that your revolution was a fluke and you're a fluke. You didn't have it. It was all fabricated. They're gonna be doing all that kind of stuff to you. They're gonna be dumping on you all day, doo-doo, all day over your forehead, over your head. They're gonna be doing that. So you might as well give them something to dump on you about. My thing is, look, I find out y'all doing, after what happened Tuesday, how Obama coalesced it, you think I'm just gonna let that happen? You honestly think I'm gonna let that happen? All right, I got something for you then. I'm sorry, I got to. I'm running independent. I'm going all the way to the convention, and at the convention, I'm gonna stand on that stage and say, look, I'm sorry, I love Democratic Party. You know I got respect for you, but I'm not turning my back on my supporters. So if my supporters want me to run independent, and walk your butt out there, but you're not gonna. Because these people are your friends. And like you did in 2016, you're going to choose your friend and support them. Turn your back on your people. Because that's exactly what you're going to do. You're going to turn your back on your people. And I heard it's going to be next week. You're going to turn your back on your people and support Joe Biden. I say at least give the people the decency and the honor to vote for you until the last state, like you did in 2016. They're going to talk about you like a dog anyway. Give them something to talk about. And number two, stand on a pulpit, stand on a soapbox and say, I'm not dropping out. I'm going to give everybody a chance to vote. Here's my deal. We need to shut down these elections until everybody get paper ballots. And then once we get the notice that everybody got their paper ballots, we're going to open up, we're going to have voting day July the 4th or something like that. And that will determine who get across the threshold. Finally get across the threshold. Now, Biden get across the threshold, fine. But are you going to feel comfortable living the rest of your life and possibly dying knowing that you didn't fight hard enough in this election? Because clearly you didn't fight hard enough. Your friendship got in the way, and that's sad. Well, I'm done. I'm Robert Brown with the Rob Report. Tulsi Gabbard decides to support Joe Biden, the man who advocated for her to go to war and not rejecting it and not taking it back. And we'll do it again in a minute, quicker than Trump. One thing about Trump have not, even though we got these proxy wars, that's bad and Trump needs to stop. Trump haven't put us in the war with Syria, but guess who will put us in the war with Syria? And you endorse that guy. You support that guy. Disappointed in you, Tulsi. I'm really disappointed. Not disappointed. I'm disappointed, number one, that you got the race. You could have stayed in there until it was over, just in case one of these two older guys experienced some health issues. We need somebody there. I wasn't expecting that. But number two, Joe Biden. Joe Biden. Very disappointed. Very disappointed. Well, I'm Rob Brown with the Raw Report. I'll let you later.